I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High.
But in the kingdom, we're going to have that power like the angels, but we're going to be what you call extraterrestrial. In other words, we're not going to be regular terrestrial like we are right now. Because what happened is, in the ancient world, we had that power. We had that power when we were on a level like gods. But what happened is, the Most High took that power from us. Over the generations and over the years, the Lord took that power from us. But we're going to get that back. We're going to get that power back coming into the kingdom.
I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither hath entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit.
When we think about the kingdom, most brothers think of like the small, minute terms. But the vastness of the kingdom, the greatness of the kingdom, dealing with the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and the information alone that we're going to receive when we get to the kingdom. That's on a whole nother level. Never mind the riches and the lands and the women and the children, and to be in your chariot, sipping some yayan, on your chalice, your gold chalice with all them rubies and emeralds and sapphires and the different precious stones, going to places.
But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit.
No one, no matter how vivid a brother's imagination is, there's nothing in comparison to what's coming. You can't even imagine. You can't even paint it a picture or write into words or give an explanation that even comes close to the majesty that's coming. We are destined for greatness in the new righteous kingdom.
But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit.
The brother with the most vivid imagination out there can't imagine what the kingdom of heaven has in store, what it's going to be like. What we're basing the kingdom of heaven as far as riches and having a good time and things of that nature is just based off of our experiences in this world and what we think having a good time is and living the life is. Thou wilt show me the path of life. In thy presence is fullness of joy. At thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore. There are pleasures forevermore at thy right hand. So the kingdom that's coming is going to be set up and established in righteousness. The Israelites are going to be changed. Thy people shall be all righteous. Not one Israelite is going to be lost, because the promise that the Most High made to Abraham was to all that seed. And the seed of the promise went from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. Every seed that came out of Jacob is a part of the ones that are going to receive the benefits that the Most High promised to blessed Abraham.
A transfer of rulership is coming, and the kingdom of heaven will be on earth. Righteousness will be spread throughout the whole four corners of the earth. Wickedness will be put down. According to the Holy Scriptures, Yahweh Shai, the Son of the Most High, is set to bring immortality to the nation of Israel, the elect, via establishing the tabernacle of David. As we talk about the second coming of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, he is coming to take down this current world ruled by Esau, Edom, and establish a righteous kingdom, which is synonymous with the throne of David. That's scriptural, which is a government that's going to run this world in righteousness.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakodash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessing salutations to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth, and then sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners, whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Shah. All right, and what I want to get into this morning is dealing with another morning news and prophecy. All right, and the devil is busy. You know, devil is all over the place. He has, so many irons, in the fire, okay, of this new world order. Okay, and he's full steam ahead. Okay, and every move that we see happening, all right, that the devil is making, okay, is a move towards his new world order, okay, his digital infrastructure, okay, his police state, okay, his third world war, which would, topple, all the governments, okay, of the earth, in hopes that he's going to establish a one world government, okay. So we're seeing all these moves being made, all right, in an attempt to establish a new world order. Everything that the devil is doing has one agenda in mind, all right, and that's a complete system of control, all right, via a digital technocracy, man. Okay, so every move that we see the devil is making in the earth is another move towards that. Okay, this is what he's locked into. He's tapped into pulling his off this enterprise. Okay, and here it is, we're in this time where this devil is trying to pull this off, and you have Jake that want to associate this devil with some type of salvation. Okay, that's complete madness and confusion. Okay, and it's preparing a lot of Israelites to be taken in these times. Okay, so I want to go here to the book of Ezekiel 28. And I want to read it in the AMP. Okay, and we'll segue. We got a few videos to get into this morning. All right, this is Ezekiel 28 and 1. This in the AMP. It says, "The word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, say to the prince of Tyre." Now, this was, actual prince, that was being prophesied to, because Tyre was a rich port, okay, country, okay, in the Mediterranean, okay, and they became wealthy. It was hard for them to be taken down because, they had walls right there on the outskirts, okay, of the where the water, touched the land, so it was hard to penetrate, Tyre, okay, and they was proud. There was a major trade port. They was known for having their purple dye, that was used for dyeing, royal garments or garments of nobility. All right, so there was a very exalted, okay, kingdom. Okay, a lot of wealth flowed through it. You see, and in the spirit, who is this compared to today in the spirit? All right, speaking of Esau, man. Okay, because he's a centerpiece of traffic and wealth. All these, the money that transferred throughout the earth transferred through Edomite banks. Okay, what you're going to get into that? But this devil, he's likened to the prince of Tyre, man, in the spirit. Okay, if you can receive it. Now, when you go into it, Ezekiel 28:2 says, "Son of man, say to the prince of Tyre, thus said the Lord power, because your heart is lifted up, and you have said and thought, I am a God." Okay, and this is the time that Esau, this is what Esau was on. Or Esau was spending these billions and trillions of dollars on data centers and this and that. He's saying, I'm a God. Okay, when he's setting up this AI infrastructure, okay, setting up the infrastructure for the sea hip, he's saying, I'm a God. Okay, I'm finna reach Godhood. Okay, this is what this devil is on. All right, and this is what his moves are centered around him saying, I'm a God. Okay, it says, I sit in the seat of the gods, in the heart of the seas, yet you are only a man, weak, feeble, man of the earth, and not the Most High. Though you imagine yourself to be more than mortal and think, all right, and think your mind is as wise as the mind of the Most High. Okay, and this is what this devil is boasting in, as if he has tapped into something that's going to make him equivalent with the Most High. Okay, and then ultimately what he call AI super intelligence. Okay, and right now you have artificial intelligence, and then you have artificial general intelligence. Okay, to where AI can do tasks. Because artificial intelligence is you asking AI, okay, or you giving AI a prompt, and then it's able to do it. But then general AI is AI being able to do particular tasks like accounting, okay, inventories, okay, and then you have AI super intelligence, okay, or AI is able to create its own systems, okay. You see, so this devil thinks that he's on the quest to become the Most High, as wise as the Most High, man. He thinks he's going to be able to know all things, see all things, okay, and he thinks he's on to something, okay, with this AI, man. All right, that's why you're going to see this man continue to go all in. Esau was going all in. Okay, he's putting all chips in the middle. Okay, with this AI infrastructure. Okay, it says, yet you are only a man. See, the Most High is going to show how feeble this man is. Even this whole AI garbage, that he's hyped up. Okay, the Most High is going to show how feeble and weak, and this man is just a mere mortal. Verse 3 says, behold, you are imagining yourself wiser than Daniel. There is no secret you think that is hidden from you. Okay, so Esau, he looks at himself, okay, from a perspective, okay, that he even has the possibility to achieve Godhood. All right, the fact that he think that he can pull this off, man, shows you how highly he thinks of himself, man. Okay, it says, with your own wisdom and with your own understanding, you have. To this other video, I'm gonna get some of what y'all brothers got on the comment board. Let's go here. Like this one. Yep. Let's see. And brother got this, brother Kazak Bun Howard. All right, this is Psalm 64:6. It says, they search out iniquities. Okay, these devils, these colleges, and you see different think tanks, and it's all right, funded by the elites to search out iniquities. All right, how this work, how that work, how they can manipulate that, how they can, you know, how they can do psychology and psyops on people, enchantments, and put this in the food, and make sure Jake has access to this. And okay, it said they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, okay, and the heart is deep. Okay, so Esau, he's deep into this, man. He's obsessed with being the wicked. Okay, this is what he put his time, his energy, and resources in. Is things like this, man. You see, this devil, he's obsessed, okay, or with trying to get rid of Jacob. He's obsessed with trying to be the Most High. He's obsessed with having complete control in the earth. He's obsessed with these things, man. All right, and this is what things are trending to. Proverbs 4:16, for they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some, okay, to fall. Okay, so this devil, all right, his mind is not at ease unless he's doing some type of wickedness, man. Okay, and why he always has these so-called new studies and research shows this, and always something new that he's, something that he's doing, man. It's always okay. Something new that you find out that this devil has going on. Something he's planning. Okay. Because this is how the devil is wired. Okay. He can't be at rest unless he's doing some type of wickedness, man. Okay. Psalms 83:2 says, do you not hear the uproars of your enemies? Don't you see? This in the NLT, and it's from the brother Yahweh's will and testament. It says, don't you hear the uproars of your enemies? Don't you see that your arrogant enemies are rising up? They devise crafty schemes against your people. Okay, they conspire against your precious ones. Come, they say, let us wipe out Israel as a nation. We will destroy the very memory of its existence, man. In which on the social scale they've done that. The real Israel has been wiped from the memory of the people, to where they don't look at you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans as Israelites. They look at the small hats as Israel. Okay, so socially they done that. All right, but this devil wants to do it genetically. Okay, so this is another agenda, all right, of his technocracy, man. All right, it's to root out a particular lineage, and that's why, part of end time prophecy is Jacob's trouble, because he knows where the bulk of our people are, the situation he's put them in. Okay, and it's gonna be like shooting fish in a barrel in the time of Jacob's trouble, man. Okay, when the Lord unleashed this man, okay, on the tribes. Okay, but for the remnant, there's gonna be a standard. Okay, and for the remnant, there's Yahushua. You see, that's gonna be the difference. So, let's play this one. All right, and it just goes into the more perspective of, digital ID. Okay, which this is becoming, the common talk. So let's play this. Play about a few minutes of this.
We can talk about how we see it right now in the fall of 2025 through this. I mean, JD Vance was recently asked about the tracking software used by Palantir, and he's like, no, I don't actually like that. Now, that's the most direct response we've had from a presidential, official. But what does that mean? Like, what are we going to do about it? He's like, yeah, we should resist that. But what? Like, it's still happening. Palantir gets exclusive contracts from the U.S. government.
Absolutely. I mean, I think there's a number of worrisome things that are happening under Vance and Trump, and that doesn't mean that the Democrats are going to have anything better to offer, or that it would have been better under Harris, or any of those sort of things. But that's, I think, the bigger point, is that the agenda marches forward under any regime, any administration, even if they sort of advance it down the field in different ways and different perspectives. Just one example, like right before we're recording this, the Associated Press just released a report saying that Border Patrol is tracking Americans' drivers and looking for suspicious behavior. So that's one example of the surveillance state moving forward, and it's being used under the guise of going after illegal immigration. Palantir is a big part of that, and of course, JD Vance, he can say what he likes, but the fact of the matter is that his mentor, Peter Thiel, is the CEO of Palantir, and he, was very much influenced by Peter Thiel, as well as some of Peter Thiel's influences. So I think that we can see that the agenda hasn't gone away. And here in late 2025, I mean, let's think about what we're facing right now. The Real ID has been announced and rolled out in May of this year. It's not a full digital ID yet. But for those who are paying attention, many states are now rolling out what they call mobile driver's licenses or digital driver's licenses. And that's sort of this first step, I think, in this direction. And some of that is use your Google Wallet, use your Apple Wallet. Others, certain states have created their own digital wallets. There's sort of a combination of different approaches at the moment. But I think with time, perhaps by the end of Trump's term, or maybe with the next president, whoever that may be, that will turn into a full digital ID system. So we can already kind of see some of these systems being put in place. And again, the expansion of surveillance technology, whatever your feelings are about the border or anybody listening's feelings about immigration, the fact of the matter is surveillance is expanding under the guise of fighting illegal immigration, both with facial recognition cameras, with the program I just mentioned, and profiling people on the streets. I think that this is all part of marching us towards this larger police state that the powers that wish they were, what I call the predator class, that they need in order to be able to fully implement the Great Reset, because they're very aware that there is going to be resistance, and there is resistance like there was during COVID. And this is why there's so many different psyops to try to condition the people to accept what they're rolling out, because they know that the masses, or at least those of us who are paying attention, will be resistant. And if they can either subtly coerce us or condition us to accept it or trick us into it by believing it's about one thing when it's really about another, if they can do that, then they can succeed. And those who resist, though, they have ways of dealing with us too. And that's where the police state measures come in.
Yeah, so what they're setting up, is they're herding people into this system. They're gradually implementing, new things. All right, like I say, you had the Apple ID, which is a digital ID. Samsung has their version of it. So Android and Apple, which they're both one and the same. And they have you to think that there's this great competition between, Samsung, Android, and Apple, but they're all government technology. It's all military technology, man. And what it's doing is herding people, into this digital system. So they're gradually, getting people to accept or adapt, to subtle changes, that's leading to a digital grid. And once he gets people to a digital grid, then he's gonna want to implant something. And then on the other side, he has the police state, being dispatched across the country, because he know it's gonna be kickback and unrest. So while he's herding the volunteers, he's positioning their sword, for those that's going to resist. You see? And we're going to play a video going into that, after this, but let's let a little bit of this play. All right, then we'll segue.
I mean, let's continue to be a little paranoid for the sake of paranoia, because the government continues to expand its power. And in fact, a government by definition cannot resist. I believe I read this in a book, and I can't remember which one, that, I'll find you the title in a second. Every government since the Roman Empire started stamping coins, which gave themselves the power to define and determine currency, which they didn't have before, has not been able to resist the urge to enrich itself, which requires expanded power. I'm going to find you this quote in a second when you're talking in my library. And so that requires the power to track people And what do you think that they could use this tracking for? Is it such that you can't go to the movies today because, you've already exceeded your carbon credits and we want you to instead do this? I mean, for those of us who know the 1984 eventuality, what can you play that out for us in worst case
Sure.
scenario?
Yeah, and I mean, I think that for one, you point out a very important piece of the puzzle, and that is the printing or the issuing of currency. Obviously, they're not printing it anymore; it's just digital numbers on a screen. But that is a core piece of the pyramid of power, of the ability of governments around the world to be able to control their population. You control the currency, you control the issuance of that currency, and you make it illegal for anybody else to try to compete with that. And now we can also see, of course, how dangerous that will be once it is completely digital. We've already seen this even before we've gotten to the full-on Great Reset digital hellscape, but we saw it during COVID.
And if I can say this, all right, and the devil, when he, because even the way he marketed paper money, as if it was everything, in music videos and movies, the suitcase full of money. Okay. The quest, just people, killing themselves, over money and trying to get rich and going on these adventures to try to get, paper money, where he marketed money, okay, as wealth, when true wealth is resources. So when he has people, so dependent on hoarding up, all right, his currency, when he tricked people to look at his currency as the end all be all to wealth and not actual substance, they gave him more leverage as well. Because when this thing collapses, a lot of people are just going to be caught holding debt. They're not going to have many real assets or resources when this thing collapses. Okay, people are just going to have debt notes that are worthless. Okay, but in this this fantasy economy, that's why it's called a fiat currency, which is just let it be what the people believe it is. So the value that comes from this paper money, okay, is the belief in the value, an agreed belief, okay, in the value of the money by society. Okay, so one of the ways that this devil, has harnessed, okay, so much control is to trick people into what wealth actually was. Okay, and when this devil got people to accept, all right, the end all be all of wealth was paper currency, and now, like he said, it's just digital numbers on the screen. You check your bank account on the app. Okay, just some numbers on the screen. Okay, but when the lights go out, those numbers on the screen, what value are they going to be? Okay, when debit cards and credit cards don't work, what value are those numbers on the screen going to be? Okay, so it's a paper empire, literally, man. You see, let's play.
COVID. I think people should not forget the lessons of COVID 1984, that we saw the ways they will do this. They will use social pressure, they will use bribes, they will use coercion, and they'll say, okay, well, you can't bank here if you don't participate, whether that is what you mentioned, like if you don't have enough carbon credits, or you're not using your digital ID, or you didn't get this injection. The reasons are almost irrelevant, because those are just the ways they're going to get to the end goal, and they will use any ways they can. I think one of the most common ways they use is convenience. They sell the public that this is going to be faster, easier, cheaper for you, especially in the COVID era. We have this increase of stores, for example, where you can go in and just scan your hand, do the Palm Pay thing, or let's say you don't even want to talk to a human because those dirty humans might have some COVID or have some illness. Well, you can just walk into a store. The store will scan your face connected to your bank account or your digital ID, and then you grab what you want and you leave. You don't have to talk or touch a human, and then everything is automatically deducted from your account. It's so easy. It's so convenient. They're already testing these kind of things out in another area, the entertainment area, which when it comes to sports, for example, the NFL, I think, has rolled out facial recognition at nearly every NFL stadium now, and I don't see any resistance from any football fans who are complaining about it. There's no more physical tickets anymore. It's all digital, and there's facial recognition at all those stadiums. So they're going to sell it to people under the guise of convenience. Safety, of course, is a big one. Tell people you're going to keep them safe, whether that's from the Muslim terrorists or from the cartel leaders or gang members or what have you. And even when those fears have some seed of truth, they will expand it and, of course, exaggerate it to get people to, okay, fine, I'll accept whatever you say as long as I feel safe. So we should very much be on guard and remember what we saw during COVID, because they will use the same tactics: coercion, convenience. And then whenever they can't get that, they will, of course, start to put more pressure on people. And this is part of what I talk about in Liberation 2030, is if we can see where these agendas are going, why not put more of our time, energy into our own lives and try to be as free from those systems as possible?
Yeah, man. So he's going into how they're going to use the same tactics from, all right, the lockdown, the scamdemic. Okay, and it's going to start with, people volunteering. Okay, then he's going to make it inconvenient for you not to have it. All right, and then he's going to come, okay, with the sword. Okay, and make it seem as if the people that are anti, okay, are the problem. They're holding up the progress for everyone else. Okay, so that's why you got this. This the brother Amawan Gabar. All right, the elder brother Amawan Gabar. All right, GMS Awakening 144. All right, he just posted this last night. Breaking news dealing with 2 National Guard, all right, troops that was supposedly assassinated not too far from the White House. All right, and there's still a story that's unfolding. So we'll play this a little bit, but let's get this real quick. Let me get this precept, and then we'll go into this. All right, because what he's doing, he's justifying having a police state as he's rolling out, okay, this new world order. So he wants the troops, and all right, he wants the troops already in place, okay, before these certain events happen. All right, it's going to cause people to lose it. Okay, this Proverbs 11:6, it said the godliness, okay, of good people rescues them. Okay, and this in this time the hopeful elect, as we turn back to righteousness, crying out to our power, for the wicked to be judged. We thirst for a righteous kingdom to be established in the earth, and we're going to be rescued, okay, because of their mindset. Okay, those that cry and sigh for the abomination that's done in the midst thereof. Okay, but it says the ambition of treacherous people traps them. All right, and this devil, he can't resist himself with this wealth, with this influence, with this technology to try to be like the Most High. Okay, to just be wicked. Okay, beyond understanding, he can't resist himself. It's too much. He has too much ambition. So the Lord gave this devil everything he needed to destroy himself. Okay, this devil has everything, all right, to his disposal to destroy his goddamn self. Okay, the biggest crash out of all time, for all time, will be Esau Edom. Okay, and what he's getting ready to do. Okay, so let's play this. All right, this just in, as of yesterday. All right, so this story is still unfolding. We'll see how the devil spin it. He more than likely he's going to do something with it.
Hello, and thank you for sticking with us. I'm Katie Inman. We have breaking news right now at 4:30. 2 National Guard soldiers were shot this afternoon near the White House in Washington, D.C. The 2 soldiers are with the West Virginia National Guard. There is now conflicting information about their conditions. Earlier, the governor said that they both had died, but now he says his office is getting conflicting reports. Hundreds of National Guard members from several states are patrolling D.C. after the president issued an emergency order in the city back in August. Police say the suspect was also shot and is now in custody. President Donald Trump posted on Truth Social about 45 minutes ago. He says the suspect is severely wounded and will pay a very steep price. The president also thanks the National Guard, military, and law enforcement. The mayor of Washington, D.C. says city leaders are actively monitoring the situation.
Hey guys, Dabu 7. We've got reports of 2 West Virginia National Guard members that have pretty much been assassinated at this point, killed in D.C. The location, not far from the White House. You can see right there the arrow in the image. And the suspect is believed to be alive right now and in custody, wounded. And as Trump says, going to pay a heavy price. The shooting taking place kind of out of nowhere, where this individual walked up on these troops working or standing at this corner, and he shot both of them at point blank range. This is what they called a critical incident, and now confirming that both of those soldiers have died. So RIP to those soldiers, and we'll see how they're going to label this whole thing and what's going to happen to this individual. But I just wanted to put it out there and let it be known that this has gone down. 2 National Guardsmen from West Virginia called up to work this D.C. area, getting just assassinated at point blank range, critically wounded at first, but now confirmed both dead. The White House, they say, was also on lockdown. They say there's an estimated 2,375 National Guard troops positioned across Washington, across D.C., where they've been deployed since August. So that's more than usual, definitely more than 500. And this unfortunately looks to be something that's going to feed into chaos and potential civil war. Going further down this route. Join me for the live stream tonight where I'm going over this in greater detail. I'll leave links below. Much love, y'all.
I want to fast forward it. All right. So you have that as of yesterday. Now how these devils are going to spin it. They could use this to justify, more boots on the ground. All right. Remember, Trump, still has, his the ace in the hole, which is the Insurrection Act. All right, which would entitle him, to use whatever military resources at his disposal, okay, to calm civil unrest in the nation. So we'll see, man, because we know they want to have this police state, all right, this surveillance state already, all right, dispatched and in place, okay, before the civil unrest, okay. So we have this report because the brother put this report, all right, in the video as well, and I'll let me see, put the brother video in there so you can go and watch the whole video. All right, so supposedly then, it happened to be right there by the White House, 2 blocks from the White House when this happened, which they said the White House, the White House was put on lockdown, as if, the president, was under threat. I don't know if he was at the White House, but they don't got to be there. They can just say he was there. All right, truth don't matter to these people, okay, just the results. Okay, so let's play this
video I found concerning the topic. So just watch it real quick.
CBS News has confirmed that the Pentagon ordered all state National Guards to form what they're calling quick reaction forces, available for rapid deployments to address potential civil unrest. CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Nicole Skanga joins me now to go through all of this. Okay, so Nicole, can you walk us through kind of what this all means?
Yeah, this is the largest change to the domestic mission of the National Guard that we have seen in well over a decade, Caitlin, and let me explain why. The leaked memo show that the National Guard Bureau is standing up quick reaction forces across all 54 states and territories, and they mobilize in the event of domestic disturbances, civil unrest, federal emergencies. We have seen them before in natural disasters, like, say, after Hurricane Katrina. But this would be a more permanent change, and it all hinges on the executive order that we saw President Trump put out back in August that also spurred the federal task force that was tough on crime, in the president's words, here in D.C. Now, each state already has a Homeland Response Force that is tasked with chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear response. Now they will have a dedicated riot control element. That is the team that we are talking about now.
And what would this look
A riot control element. And what we have to understand, you know, they can dress anybody in National Guard attire. Okay? Especially, you know, you have ICE, you know, being able to have the mask. So they're setting it up, you know, because you best believe there's mercenaries. A lot of those immigrants, all right, those migrants, they came through for years. Okay? Millions. Okay, so you best believe that there's mercenaries and UN troops that haven't been activated yet. Okay, but they're setting the stage for them, all right, to be activated and infused into so-called National Guard and, you know, ICE. And they can easily be ICE because, as we reported, that you have just random people can go get ICE, okay, gear from Amazon, okay, and pose as ICE, okay. But what they're doing, they're setting the stage. They're setting the legislation. They're setting the atmosphere to where, you know, they can justify these things being needed. You know, have these things happen close to the White House. Okay. So like I said, we're still waiting on, you know, on reports coming in dealing with this. Okay. But see, riot response is something new. The National Guard, okay, was mainly used for natural disasters. Okay, rarely they will come in for the sake of civil unrest. They have before, but it wasn't special training that they was getting. Now they have, all right, a new element, which is riot response. Okay.
like in practice?
Yeah, practically it would look like a few hundred personnel within each state. The sizes do vary based on the state. And it includes a subset of 100 troops that are always ready to deploy, including 25% of those troops ready to deploy in as little as 8 hours, 100% of troops ready to deploy within a day. So they are designed to mobilize really fast, trained in non-lethal weapon use, riot formations, escalation of force tactics. Each state is going to receive funding for the gear they need and also 2 trainers per state that can sort of keep this program up and running. Of course, a lot of criticism, a lot of concern about the blurring of the military and domestic law enforcement operations. And we have already seen in cities across the country, be it in Memphis, in Washington, D.C., task forces being tough on crime, plus National Guard deployments and the federalization of the National Guard in places like Seattle, Los Angeles, Chicago.
Right.
So we are likely to see legal challenges here. The Posse Comitatus Act still stands, and you know it compounds the existing controversy around federalized Guard deployment here in the U.S.
Yeah, exactly. I think as a lot of people are wondering what this means for those federal deployments. Nicole Sganga, thank you very much. We'll keep an eye on that. We appreciate your reporting.
Thank you.
So yeah, you have that aspect of it, you know, because like I said, they know it's gonna be a resistance. You know, these devils, you know, attempt to roll out, okay, this new world order. All right, that there's going to be a resistance, and they need particular events to happen to cause civil unrest. Okay, so they're going to cause the chaos. Okay, they're going to cause a reaction from the chaos. Okay, they're going to want to manage their reaction. Okay, and then out of nowhere, okay, a solution. And then they're going to make it seem as if they was trying to come up with a solution, okay, during the chaos. But the solution is already what they want to do before the chaos, man. Okay? This is Revelation 13 and 11. It said, then I saw another beast rising up out of the earth. Okay? This is the American government, man. He had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake like a dragon. Okay? So we're seeing, this beast government, okay, with America at the forefront. For the longest, they've been pushing, this 2-party system, as if both of these parties were battling, for your best interest. Okay, each party campaign policy was based on the interests of the people. Okay, but that's all right. Farthest from the truth that can be, because both parties serve the interests of the elites. Okay, and as you can see with Trump presidency, okay, the interest of the elite has been all right, has went into hyperdrive, man. Okay, with AI, all right, with AI infrastructure, with deregulation, okay, regarding AI build out. Okay, so now we're seeing this devil. He's finna speak like a dragon, draconian. He's finna become very harsh. Okay, it's gonna be a rough attempt to transition. It's gonna be a very bloody transition. Okay, an attempted transition to this new world order. Okay, but end all be all, the devil is finna fail. So let's get here. Let's get this here. All right, in Job. All right, 5 and 12. It says, he frustrates the devices and schemes of the crafty. So all this, these devices and schemes, snares and traps, and just the decades, the centuries of planning for this. Okay, finna be frustrated. Okay, all this time of planning and setting this thing up, the time it took to corrupt all these different governments, to social engineer, okay, the population, okay, to conditioning them, for particular devices, and okay, all this build up, and he's gonna be frustrated because it's gonna be ended quick. It's gonna be destroyed quick, so that their hands cannot attain success or achieve anything of lasting worth, man. Okay, because Yahweh Shai is coming to destroy this whole system like a house of cards, man. All right, like a sand castle. Okay, it says he catches the so-called wise. All right, that's a good translation. He catches the so-called wise in their own shrewdness, and the advice of the devious is quickly thwarted, man. The Lord gonna put a quick stop to the devil, man. It's gonna be a quick stoppage. Okay, so that's the point. Just want to bring that out. Lord will, you brothers, all right, and your sister was edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutation, hopefully, Shalom.